You wanna come, Merle? Hello, y'all. It's been a while. I hope y'all had a lovely holiday. Stay. I'm gonna kind of show you my plan for this new year here. 2025, can you believe it? I've already started a lot of seeds. Mara, you coming? I've got my Emerald Towers basil, which popped up extremely fast, and many new peppers that I'm very excited about. Now that Emerald Towers basil did so well, y'all, it did not bolt. In fact, this year I'll have to make sure to leave some Emerald Towers untouched so it does bolt, because I want to collect seeds from them. But they did fabulous and they got huge. This year I kind of went nuts. I want to have a ton of basil. Last year I got a little bit behind because I had those mice that came through and ate all my little basil's heads off. So this year I'm going to be a lot more careful. My greenhouse is a little bit of a disaster zone. Check it out. We're going to have to build a place for this hay because before you know it, this greenhouse is going to be full with plants. In fact, I'm not quite sure. Let me set this somewhere. I definitely don't need it in the greenhouse. If I'm going to be able to fit it all in here, I don't know. I kind of went overboard. I'm going to be doing a lot of new plants this year. My tripod broke, so every once in a while you might fall this way. I just don't know what to start with because I'm very excited. Let's start with peppers because I'm doing a lot of peppers this year. Normally I kind of keep it simple. I just like my habaneros, my cayennes, paprika, and then I like my Ghost and Carolina Reapers. This year I'm going bonkers because in my area, I'm in zone 8A in North Georgia. Peppers just do great out here. So I decided, I'm gonna go all out on peppers, and I also love to make my own fermented hot sauce. My family and we can go through a lot of hot sauce, and then I also like to gift it out to people. In fact, I think I'm gonna talk about this while we're out walking. Yeah, I came in here to stay warm, but actually I wanna walk. So it's that time of year where I get a ton of seed catalogs. And I got the Baker Creek one, and they had some fun looking peppers in there that I just had to try out. So I started this one. It's called Pepper Fish pepper. A pre-1947 African-American heirloom that was used in fish and shellfish cookery. Fruit colored from green, orange, brown, white, and red, spicy, and hot. Attractive variegated foliage, superb for edible ornamental landscaping. So I just kind of want to go all out on color. And I thought these would be so fun. And this one, y'all, a Buena Mulata pepper. It's a chameleon-like pepper. Violet to pinkish flesh, and then orange to brown, and then deep red. Long, round pods. I just thought it would be fun to get some stuff that changes color. This one too, I've heard a lot of people do this one, the Sugar Rush Peach. My youngest child, Melody, does not like spicy, but I'd like her to have the benefits from eating some fermented hot sauce. So we thought we would try this one. It's supposed to be a little bit more sweet. I'm not gonna be mixing things up as much as I did last year. I found that since I have not been spraying neem oil, I've got more of a balance in my garden. I'm able to handle the pests without it being too big of a job. Last year was much better than the year before, so I'm expecting this year to be even better. At the end of the summer season, I discovered a new beneficial stink bug. It's called an anchor stink bug, and they are all over my panels over here. I wasn't sure what they were at first because I had never seen them before, but I had hundreds and hundreds of them that hatched. And I also saw a few of the adults, so I'm very excited to see them because it's one of the varieties of stink bugs that are not as common. They're a little bit more rare. So that's one more beneficial insect that I'm going to be having in my garden this year. Because remember, there's plenty of beneficial insects out there that you want to keep in your garden. And the more you're not spraying chemicals or even the organic stuff like neem, you'll have more of them come into your garden. And you won't have to work so hard. So I decided that this year for this arch, I'm gonna just do squash. It just fills in so beautifully and kind of one of my favorite parts of the garden. And since that cinnamon squash does so well, which the cinnamon squash is the one that my daughter's rabbit, Cinnamon, planted for us. It's a cross between a Long Island cheese and a Tahitian melon. And they are extremely prolific and we love the flavor. They also seemed less susceptible to vine borers and pickle worms, which was kind of interesting. So I'm just going to be doing the cinnamon squash out here, and I'll be doing spaghetti squash on my main arched rows here. And in fact, I might go ahead and grab my sweater. All right, I'm going to leave these here, but I'm going to be right back. My goats are so noisy because they're used to having tons of browse out there, but to keep them preoccupied. But they don't have anything right now. Everything's dead, right? So they've got their Bermuda hay, and I give them their grain and everything, but they just always beg for my attention. And I can't go out there because then they're just gonna be always whining at me, which will drive me crazy. Tomorrow, come on. Tomorrow. She keeps looking for the mice. Well, I think they're rats. They're small rats. She killed one for me, y'all. She got it, and just, you know, how dogs do, they just shake it to death. And then I've got one more running around that she's been trying to catch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably do a tomato, tobacco, and then a pepper. And I'm gonna kind of alternate that throughout my garden. And the only two squashes that I'm gonna do this year in my garden is going to be the cinnamon squash and the spaghetti squash. The rest of it is going to go around my house and around my yard because I've got a lot of good soil out there and sunshine. And let's just face it, grass is overrated. I don't need it in my yard. My whole yard is just going to be food. Obviously everything looks pretty dead right now. So does grass. Well, actually, a lot of this is that strawberry. But, let me see. And I'm gonna just do a bunch of pumpkins out here. I got some new fun ones that I wanna try. In fact, oh, see, I just made a mess. Oh, Mario found an egg. Where'd you find that? I wanted to get some lumpy pumpkins. I always see them in the store and I'm like, oh, those are funny looking. So I wanted to try this one. It's called Crespo. It's originally from the Andes of northern South America. I'm gonna try the Big Macs again. And hopefully we can get some real big ones. This one's called a Cinderella pumpkin. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the French name. But we're gonna try them out. So yeah, this whole area, I'm just gonna let it go. Mara, you gonna stay there and eat your egg? I guess so. I also got some habanero peppers and cayenne peppers that are colorful. And I'm thinking this teepee is coming down. This whole section already fell apart. I think I'll just push it down. And this soil in here is good. I've been putting mulch in here to keep the grass away because I hate mowing in there and weed whacking. It's a pain. So I want to use this space. I think I'm going to go ahead and just put a bunch of peppers in here, kind of like a spiral. I have all of these cages in here, and I've honestly found that my peppers and my eggplant prefer cages over compared to the panels. They just seem to do better. They want to really branch out like a tree compared to the tomatoes. You can kind of encourage them to climb, and they do fine that way. So I have these cages here. I have a whole bunch of them. I just got these from Walmart on sale several years ago for $1 a piece. But I think if I want to get more of them, I think they're almost $6. So I probably will be getting some more of those this year, not next year. And kind of creating a little spiral and just doing a ton of peppers. I'll also be doing some peppers around my house. I planted a lot more tobacco this year. I wanted to try the fragrant varieties, the ornamental varieties they're called. I've got 3 different kinds. One of these is a perennial, which I'm excited about. Which one was that? Called a Nicotiana? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's supposed to be extremely fragrant. And I get all my tobacco seeds from Victory Seed Company. And I know a lot of this ornamental tobacco doesn't have the nicotine in it like your regular smoking tobacco does. So we'll see how well the tomato hornworms like it. I don't know. I'm going to kind of use it as, my plan was to kind of use it as a trap crop, since those tomato hornworms prefer it over the tomatoes. They kind of go over there instead of mess with my tomatoes. You'll see I've never grown the ornamental ones before. I've only grown the varieties for smoking, which I'm going to be doing a Virginia Gold this year. I don't think I've done that one before, so we'll try it out and see. But every tomato will have a tobacco next to it. So yeah, here we go. I've got the Virginia Gold. This one's called a Perfume Blue. This one's not a perennial. And this is just a perfume mix. Oh, I've already got these all popping up. They're coming in great, especially the perennial variety. All my peppers are popping up, except the cayennes and the habaneros. I just got those in the mail yesterday. I started all those before Christmas, which is my first time doing that. This is the earliest time I've ever started anything. We'll see if I regret that. I'll let you know. The reason I did that is I wanted my tobacco, peppers, eggplant to be larger than they were last year. Last year I started them in the very beginning of January. I just wasn't really happy with how large they were compared to my tomatoes. In fact, my tomatoes were too large. They were starting to get kind of leggy. This year, I won't be starting them the very 1st of January. I'm gonna wait. In fact, I'm not 100% sure when I want to start them yet. All right, let's talk tomatoes, because I have a lot of tomatoes I'm gonna be doing this year. My goal is to grow enough tomatoes for us to eat fresh, store, and also share with friends. I've struggled so much with diseases and such that it's been a struggle, but I've been saving seeds from the ones that have been doing the best in my garden. And hopefully this year they do even better than last year. So that's all these guys. Most of these are paste. Gosh, how many do I have in here? I don't know what I'm gonna do this year. This is bonkers. I've kept notes. This one here, y'all, this is the one that was on my very, very last arch that just kept going all the way up till September, I feel. So I'll probably do quite a few of these. It was more like a slicer though. I'm gonna stuff as many tomato plants in here as I possibly can. This garden here is about 1/4 of an acre. And I have a drone, and one of these days I'd like to get a shot of it for you up above the garden. But I wanted to start some new ones this year. I've got a ton that I've been saving seeds from. That lovely catalog that I get from Baker Creek had some fun ones that I just had to try out. Now, I'll admit, I got this one because of the name. Alice's Dream. I love Alice in Wonderland. That's basically why I got this one. They got me there. And this one, Orange Accordion. Isn't that pretty? Now we'll see how well this does. heirlooms don't necessarily do that great in my garden. I generally have to do a hybrid. And then this one, Great White. These two are both beefsteaks. So these are ones I just got for fun. Then the rest of them are gonna be canning tomatoes, paste tomatoes. So I want to be able to make enough sauce for my family that's homemade and not from the store. This is called a Pisano tomato. It's also supposed to have a high resistance to different bacterial wilts, which I do have some of that in my garden. But they're supposed to produce nice large paste tomatoes in a big cluster. Very prolific, and that's what I want. I don't like the little tiny ones. That's the main paste tomato that I'm gonna be doing. And I'll collect seeds from it and we'll see how it does. From my experience, collecting seeds from hybrids has worked out pretty well for me. I haven't noticed them to be that different, or if at all different, from the mother plant. This is that watermelon that did decently well in my garden. I've struggled with melons here. I don't know what it is, but this one's done pretty well. This is the second generation here in my garden. I haven't really thought about where I'm gonna put that yet. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I got an interesting tomato that I'm trying to look for. It was kind of in a different package. Oh, here it is. Ha! This is a paste tomato. Got it because it looked fun. It's just called Giant Garden Paste F1 tomato. They're large like the Pisano and they grow in a cluster, but they kind of have a funky shape, more like the mushroom basket or this new one that I'm gonna try, the accordion. We'll see. I just got that for fun. It's a little pricey, but you can always save seeds from it. I'm gonna run and grab my little gloves real quick. My hands are getting kind of red. The chickens will keep you company. Look at these little broccolis. Cute little broccoli heads. Hairy vetch is slowly growing. I didn't get it in as early last year, so it's not going to grow as tall as it did last year. It won't really start taking off till the spring. Oh, that's so funny. I have gourds way up in that tree. I'm not going to be getting those down. One of the other things that I'm going to be growing that's new is cumin, or cumin? Cumin. How do y'all pronounce it? I've heard both. I think my family members, they all pronounce it cumin. We'll go with that. But it's a perennial. It grows like a mint, but it's related to a carrot. So when it flowers, it looks very much like the head of a carrot flower. And then you harvest the seeds from the flower and grind those up, and you can make your own cumin powder, or you can just keep the seeds and use them whole in things, which I like to do as well. Because I like to be able to grow as many herbs in my garden that I can to make my own spices. I looked up to see if I can grow my own pepper plants, peppercorn, and I'm not tropical enough here. You probably can do that down, probably South Georgia, Florida, because that one would be a fun thing to grow, I think. So if any of y'all live down in Florida, more in a tropical place than I do, that might be a fun thing to try growing. I've got my own turmeric. I haven't shown y'all that one for a while. It's all dead. Well, it's gonna come back. I have it growing along the bank here. It all died back, but that turmeric patch is doing pretty well, except my goats like it, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Maybe I have to transplant it somewhere else, but it does really well right there on the water. I'll be mixing that cumin in with the peppers, I think, and we'll just let it go wild. think that was everything. I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna remember more things that I wanted to say. I'm not much of a note taker. I just kind of go out here willy-nilly. Yeah, I'm excited about the squash out here, y'all. I know Nathan were a little concerned about, you know, squash bugs, but huh, look at all those weird mushrooms. Huh, they're growing all over there. Weird. But I've gotten pretty good at spotting their eggs and their different phases, and that wasn't really much of a problem last year. Plus I have all the beneficial insects too. I'm not too worried, but we'll see. Every year always does throw me challenges. Come on, Marl! Come on, silly head. Let's go. All right, y'all take care. I hope you have a lovely new year, and we'll see you next time.